Hey buddy, you clicked this moment because your pulse felt the shift earlier. You've been stretched by doubt so many times it carved sharp focus inside. People counted you out before you even started learning your own strength. But you're here again, rising quietly, while they wonder how you kept moving. Stay with me because this path opens deeper clarity you've earned through struggle. Drop your voice in the comments so others feel less alone, walking forward. This isn't noise. It's a mirror showing what your growth truly looks like. You survived quiet storms, shaping discipline no one expected you to carry. If you stay until the end, you'll feel that internal switch rise again. Your journey matters here more than any label they once tried to place. Keep watching, because each second strengthens the identity they never understood fully. And trust this moment, because it marks the chapter you finally choose alone. I can almost hear the quiet shift in your breathing the moment you walked away. A tiny break in the pattern they thought you'd never escape. And that's when everything tilted. That's when the story twisted. That's when you stopped being predictable. They felt the floor move. Not because you ran, but because you stepped out of their little script. They never expected it. They counted on your hesitation, your fear, your need to keep the peace. But you slipped through the cracks like a whisper they couldn't cage. And that whisper became a signal, a spark, a warning. The kind that rattles the mind long after the door closes. The kind that lingers. The kind that rewrites the rules. You didn't leave to prove anything. You left because the space around you had grown too tight, too stale, too small for the edges you were trying to sharpen. And that exit, that single, deliberate exit, carried more weight than any long speech ever could. It carved a line between who you were and who you're becoming. A quiet shift with sharp consequences. People don't fear your departure. They fear what happens after you're gone. The reflection it forces on them, the truths it reveals, the fractures it exposes. And when you walk away with calm steps, they feel a storm forming behind your eyes. They sense the rise. They sense the change. They sense the version of you that doesn't hesitate anymore. Revolutions don't begin with noise. They begin with intention. The kind that burns slow. The kind that whispers before it roars. And your decision to step out of their reach wasn't chaos. It was clarity. A clarity that cracks through every layer of doubt they placed on you. A clarity sharp enough to start its own shift. Its own rebellion. And now they stare at the absence you left behind. They trace it. They study it. They question it. Because the one who walks away first holds the map, the leverage, the edge. You didn't just leave the room. You changed the rules of it. You walked out, and everything they thought was stable began to tremble. And that tremble makes them restless. It makes them watch. It makes them remember. There's a moment right after someone expects you to explode where everything goes still, and that stillness slices deeper than any outburst ever could. Rage is predictable. Noise is familiar. But silence is dangerous. It crawls under their skin. It reminds them they no longer control your reactions. And that unsettles them more than any roar you could deliver. You didn't stay quiet because you were weak. You stayed quiet because you were calculating, measuring, observing. Letting their words fall flat in the air with no fuel to burn. That emptiness they felt wasn't confusion. It was exposure. Your silence held a mirror to them, and they weren't ready for the reflection staring back. not ready to confront what your calm revealed. Some people depend on your noise to feel certain about their place. They want your reaction more than your reason. They crave the chaos of your frustration because it keeps the story familiar. But when you stop giving them that, when you choose stillness over fire, it throws their entire script off balance. Your silence becomes a shift, a fracture, a reminder of your growing discipline. There's a sharp kind of authority in a quiet mind, a presence that doesn't need volume to be felt. You stand there steady, and everything inside them starts unraveling. They wonder what you're thinking. They wonder what you're planning. They wonder why the old triggers no longer pull you apart. And that wondering becomes its own pressure, its own weight, its own tension building in their chest. Silence is not absence, it's intention. It's restraint, sharpened into a blade they never see until it cuts. And every moment you choose not to react, you build a different kind of strength, the kind that can't be manipulated, the kind that can't be read easily, the kind that forces others to think twice before stepping too close. Your quiet becomes a territory, a boundary, a warning, and deep down, they feel it. They feel the shift in you. They feel the cold clarity behind your eyes. They feel that your silence isn't empty. It's loaded, charged, ready. They feel that you're no longer the person who breaks under pressure. You've become the one who watches, waits, learns, and that unnerves them. Because people fear what they cannot predict. They fear what they cannot trigger. They fear the one who walks away and stays quiet. There's a strange panic that hits the moment someone realizes they've lost their grip on you. It's subtle at first, a flicker in their expression, a shift in their tone. Then it grows, it tightens, it spreads. Because nothing unsettles the mind like watching control fade through open hands. You became the one thing they couldn't pin down, and that absence turned into a hunger they didn't expect. You didn't force their attention. You didn't beg for it. You simply stopped feeding the pattern that kept you small. And suddenly, the one they overlooked became the one they couldn't ignore. It's peculiar how people value what escapes them, how they study the shape of what's missing more than the form of what's present. Your distance became a riddle they couldn't solve, and that riddle started to consume them. People chase certainty, predictability, familiar reactions. But when you stop offering those, when you slip through their routine like water through clenched fists, they freeze, they rethink, they spiral. Because the moment you remove yourself from the equation, their assumptions lose power. You start existing in their mind rather than their reach. And that shift rewires the entire dynamic. Your absence becomes a presence, a reminder, a tension. They replay old moments trying to find clues. They question their choices. They question your silence. They question the way you vanished without drama, without noise, without leaving a trail to follow. And that mystery pulls at them. The human mind hates the unknown, yet it's drawn to it. And you've become exactly that, the unknown. You didn't slip away to manipulate them. You slipped away to rebuild yourself. But the irony is sharp. The more you rise, the more they return. The more you let go, the tighter they cling. The more unpredictable you become, the more they chase. Because people always want what feels rare. What feels out of reach. What feels like it wasn't meant to be held easily. And you became that rarity. There's a point where the rubble around you stops feeling like an ending and starts feeling like a blueprint. You sit in the quiet mess they never expected you to survive, tracing the edges of what broke you and what built you. Ruins have a way of stripping the noise from life. They leave you alone with your pulse and your truth. And in that stripped-down silence, something new starts breathing. Something sharper, something steadier, something they never prepared for. They thought the damage would keep you low. They thought the weight would keep you still. But pressure changes the shape of a person in ways they can't predict. It sharpens the edges, deepens the focus, turns every discarded piece into a fragment of awareness. You learn what matters by losing what didn't. You learn who you are by standing in the wreckage without flinching. And slowly the ruins stop looking like a trap and start looking like a foundation. Pain becomes an architect. It sketches new lines inside you that weren't there before. Stronger lines, straighter lines. Lines that don't bend for the same patterns that once held you down. You become a different kind of steady, a different kind of aware. And those who left you buried in the dust never imagine you'll rise with clearer sight. They don't imagine the strength built from silence. They don't imagine the discipline forged from pressure. They only see the ruin. They never see the rebuild. But you feel it. You feel the shift in the way you carry your thoughts. You feel the pull of purpose under your skin. You feel the old fears loosening their grip one grain at a time. Every step in the rubble teaches you something they never could. How to hold your ground, how to choose your direction, how to turn what hurt you into a quiet source of power. And the more you rise, the more the past shrinks behind you, until it's only a shadow you no longer fear. People rarely realize the strength of the one who learns alone, the one who pieces themselves back together without applause, the one who takes every shard and fits it into something sharper than before. You didn't climb out for approval. You climbed out because something inside refused to stay small, refused to stay broken, refused to let their absence define your shape. And that refusal becomes your turning point, your ignition, your rebirth. And eventually, they look back and see someone they don't recognize, someone forged in the quiet, someone who learned to stand without leaning, someone who rose from the debris with eyes that see further than before. They wonder how you did it. They wonder when the shift happened. They wonder how the ruins they left became the ground you launched from. There's a moment when you stop fighting for control and start seeing that it was yours the entire time. A quiet shift in the mind, a recognition, a click. You stop chasing approval. You stop bending to noise. You stop letting the world decide your pulse. And in that still moment, everything rearranges itself around you. Not because you forced it, but because you finally understood that control begins where hesitation ends. Most people mistake force for strength. They think volume wins. They think pressure rules. But real control comes from the one who stays rooted when everyone else scrambles. The one who doesn't need to raise their voice to be heard. The one who doesn't need to grip tightly to hold influence. You stand there, steady, aware, and the room adjusts. Not through threat, through presence, through clarity, through the weight of someone who knows their own mind. You start realizing how often you handed away your authority without noticing. Every time you apologized for existing. Every time you shrank to keep the peace. Every time you let someone else define your limits. but awareness is a blade. And the moment you see the pattern, you cut through it. You reclaim what was yours. Quietly, cleanly, without needing to prove anything to anyone. That recognition is your turning point. Control isn't about dominating others. It's about mastering yourself, your reactions, your impulses, your internal storms. The one who holds themselves steady doesn't get dragged by noise. They choose when to move. They choose when to speak. They choose when to walk away. And that choice becomes the center of their strength. A strength built from discipline, not disruption. A strength people notice, even if they don't understand it. And when you reach that level, people feel the difference. They sense the change in the way you hold your gaze. They sense the certainty in your pauses. They sense the calm weight behind your decisions. It unsettles some. It intrigues others. It reshapes the way they approach you, because now you're not reacting out of habit. You're responding with intention. Every word is measured. Every step is deliberate. Every silence was calculated. That's when you realize control was never something to seize. It was something to uncover. Something buried under years of doubt and noise. Something waiting for you to notice it. And once you do, once you stand in that awareness, everything aligns differently. You stop being pulled by old patterns. You stop chasing familiar traps. You stop giving away your center. And the world watches, wondering how the quiet one became the one who holds all the weight. There's a certain chill that runs through people when they realize you've moved past the version of yourself they were counting on. They built their comfort around your predictability, your softness, your hesitation. They shaped their expectations around who you were, not who you were becoming. And when you started shifting, when your edges sharpened and your focus deepened, they felt the ground change beneath them, quietly, suddenly, completely. They didn't see the late nights where you questioned everything. They didn't see the discipline forming in silence. They didn't see the small decisions stacking into something unrecognizable. They assumed you'd stay the same because it was easier for them, easier to manage, easier to dismiss, easier to overlook. But growth isn't a courtesy. It's a consequence of paying attention. And you paid attention to every scar, every mistake, every pattern that once held you down. People get uncomfortable when you rise faster than their expectations. They get tense when your progress exposes their stagnation. Your growth becomes a mirror they don't want to face, a reminder of what they ignored in themselves. And instead of celebrating it, they question it. They analyze it. They whisper about it. Not because you've changed too much, but because they haven't changed at all. Your evolution disrupts the comfort of their excuses. You weren't supposed to rewrite your story. You weren't supposed to elevate your thinking. You weren't supposed to build a new identity from the scraps they left behind. But you did. Quietly, relentlessly, with a steadiness they never saw coming. And now they can't look at you without feeling the distance that growth creates. A distance built not from arrogance, but from outgrowing the limits they tried to place around you. And the strange thing is, they feel it before you say anything. They feel it in your presence, in your pauses, in the way you no longer react to old triggers, in the way your decisions no longer revolve around their comfort. You're not playing the same role anymore. You're not holding the same weight. You're not living in the same mindset they once controlled. You've stepped into a larger version of yourself, And that shift unsettles them more than any argument ever could. You made it. You stayed. And that alone proves the fire inside isn't fake. Every second you spent here proves you're different, sharper, awake, ready. Take that energy with you. Don't let it fade. Let it fuel your next move. Remember, growth isn't loud, it's steady, it's relentless, and you're living proof. Drop a comment right now. Let me know what hit you hardest, what shook your perspective. Your voice matters. Your journey matters. Every single person watching this, every fighter who refused to bend, you're the reason this content exists. So salute yourself for showing up, for stepping in, and for refusing to stay small. And before you go, remember this. The people who doubted you are still stuck in the old story, but you're rewriting the rules. Take that. Own that, live that. And if you want more fuel, more fire, stay tuned, because we're just getting started. Well, well, well. Are you ready to face the truth? Yeah, it's not what you think. It's deeper, way deeper. You think you're invisible? Oh, everyone is watching. Every move, every thought, every breath. And here's the twist. They don't even know you yet. They're already tracking, analyzing, judging you. Hold up. Yeah. Don't scroll yet. This isn't just a video. It's a warning, a map, a revelation. You're about to dive into a dangerous fantasy, a world where attention and power collide. So stay sharp, focus. Every word counts, every moment matters, because your mind is about to be unlocked. Oh, shout out to you. The one watching this right now, yeah, you. You're the reason this journey exists, the reason the story hits harder, the reason the truth matters. Comment below, tell me your thoughts, share your fire, show the world you're awake, that you see it, that you feel it. They think they're invisible. They think they're alone. But eyes are everywhere. Always. Do you feel it? That weight on your shoulders. The subtle tension that wraps around you like a second skin. Oh wow. It's not imagination. It's attention. Quiet, relentless, invisible. They don't know you, but they are watching. Every breath, every twitch, every fleeting thought, it's being measured, dissected, recorded. And you, sitting there thinking you're free, thinking you're untouchable. Nah, you're a target in the grandest game of all. They don't need to know your name. They don't need to understand your motives. Awareness alone is enough to place you under the microscope. And here's the truth. Ignorance is lethal. When you wander through life thinking your steps are private, you leave cracks. Tiny, invisible fissures where the curious, the cautious, the calculating can peer inside your mind. Every secret you whisper to the air, every hesitation you disguise as calm, is fuel for them, and it never stops. But here's the twist. Being watched isn't weakness. It's power. Raw, untamed, unseen power. Because if they can see you, if they attempt to predict you, then you have the choice to bend their expectations, to twist their assumptions, to become a force they cannot comprehend. That's the edge. That's the knife, hidden in plain sight. That's the dangerous fantasy they don't even realize they're living. Now, oh yeah, listen closely. Every day the world tempts you with comfort, the illusion of invisibility, the sweet lie of anonymity, and the majority accept it. They settle into it. They fall asleep, while their lives unravel quietly under the watchful gaze of observers they never considered. But you are awake. You see the game, and knowing the game, that is half the battle. Every moment they stare, every quiet judgment they pass, every mental measurement they attempt, it's a mirror. It shows you what they fear. It exposes their weakness. And in that mirror, you see a reflection they will never see themselves. A shadow, a storm, a presence that bends the rules without a sound. Oh, and that's where the fun begins. That's where the dangerous fantasy starts to pulse with life. The moment they realize they're not in control, that is when your power takes form. Because control is an illusion. Observation is inevitable. But mastery is earned in the silence before the storm. A shadow is not empty. It is the mirror of your truth. Oh, you thought they were just watching? Nah, they are calculating. Every glance is a question. Every silence, a judgment. And you are the answer. They cannot read. But here's the twist. What they see is only the surface. Only the reflection you allow them to witness. Behind that thin veil lies the storm they will never anticipate. Yeah, the storm of patience, of discipline, of quiet mastery that builds unnoticed, unseen, unstoppable. The world tells you to reveal yourself, to show your hand, to make your life understandable. But understanding is a trap. Every detail they capture is ammunition. Every tiny expression they interpret, it feeds their sense of control. And control is an illusion. Absolute, unbreakable, invisible. And yet, most stumble through life like open books, laughing at their own vulnerability, oblivious to the predators disguised as spectators. But you have learned the language of the shadow. You move silently. You breathe deliberately. You let them watch while you grow. Let them analyze while you sharpen yourself. Every whisper they send into the air, every mental note they take, strengthens your position. Oh wow, imagine the irony. They think they are the hunters, and yet every observation they make is paving the path for your ascendancy. Observation is not passive. It is a mirror, a lens into weakness, a map of fear. And here's where most falter. They react, they panic, they reveal themselves. But not you. You are still, you are deliberate, you are invisible and inevitable all at once. That tension, that uncertainty in the air, it is your ally. And in it lies power no weapon can match. Every shadow has depth. Every silence has volume. And you are both. They don't realize they are being measured against a standard they cannot reach, a presence they cannot define, a force that exists only when unnoticed and unavoidable once revealed. They are staring at a shadow, and shadows, oh yeah, shadows can consume without warning. They can bend perception. They can teach fear without a word. So ask yourself this. As their eyes trace your steps, as they try to decipher the rhythm of your life, as they fantasize about control they will never seize, what do they truly fear? Is it the visible, the surface, or the invisible? The mastery that dwells quietly beneath, shaping destiny without announcement, without apology, without pause. Silence is louder than screams. and it carries farther than any boast. Oh yeah, do you feel it? That quiet pulse beneath the chaos of observation, the stillness that hums with hidden power. It is here, in this silence, that evolution begins. Not with noise, not with spectacle, but with the slow, deliberate crafting of your mind, your habits, your presence. Most people mistake action for progress, movement for mastery, but you know better. You understand that survival alone is the shallowest victory, a temporary mask that cracks the moment pressure rises. Every day, the watchers continue. They trace your patterns. They measure your reactions. They try to assign you to a category they understand, and yet you remain unreadable. Oh wow. Imagine the frustration that builds in their minds. Every unnoticed step, every unmarked decision, every pause, it is evolution in its purest form. They watch, unaware they are being outmaneuvered in silence. That silence is no void, it is a forge. It is where fear becomes respect, where hesitation becomes certainty, where weakness is replaced by calculated inevitability. Evolution demands courage. It demands patience. It demands an unshakable commitment to your own path, while the world projects its illusions of control. Most crumble under observation. Most adapt their behavior to appease, to fit expectations, to hide. But you grow invisible, while simultaneously becoming undeniable. You are the shadow that moves with purpose, the whisper that leaves no trace, the force that rises without announcement. And here's the subtle, intoxicating truth. The more they watch, the more they invest their energy, the more their attention fuels your ascent. Each glance is a thread, each judgment a spark, and as you remain steady, they feed the fire that will one day illuminate the scale of your mastery. Oh, yes, evolution is quiet, but it is relentless. It shapes your essence into something they cannot predict, something that exists beyond their comprehension. But evolution is not comfort, it is tension. It is the constant awareness that the unseen is more powerful than the seen. It is the recognition that your presence, though subtle, shifts the world around you. Every observer becomes a tool, every whisper a guide, every hidden fear a reflection of your own untapped potential. You are building an empire in the mind of the watchers, without them ever realizing it. And that is the ultimate advantage. Let them stare. Let them speculate. Let them wonder. They are powerless while you move. Oh yeah. Do you feel the shift? That electricity in the air when silence becomes action. The watchers, the observers, the critics, they think they understand. They think they control. Nah, control is an illusion. And in this illusion you move freely, deliberately, invisibly, yet unmistakable. Every step is calculated, every pause deliberate, every glance a weapon. You've evolved in silence. You've honed your mind, sharpened your instincts, built patience like steel. And now mastery emerges, not in hiding, not in whispers, but in movement that appears effortless while it bends reality around you. Oh wow, the beauty of it. They try to predict your path, but you are already rewriting it. Their eyes track the wrong steps. Their judgments fall on empty space. They are spectators in a game they cannot win. Every observer becomes a mirror, Every whisper becomes intelligence. Every miscalculation they make, every expectation they set, it is yours to manipulate, not through force, but through presence. They watch while you move with precision. They imagine chaos, but all they witness is composed inevitability. You are the shadow in motion, the storm disguised as calm, the tension that stretches without breaking. Yet mastery is not arrogance, not display, not boast. It is subtle dominance. It is the patience of one who knows when to act, when to pause, when to let their absence shape the room more than their presence ever could. Oh, and the irony. They fantasize about controlling your actions while you orchestrate their perception without effort. You are unseen and yet unmistakable, unapproachable, unshakable. Every movement reinforces your reputation. Every step builds an empire of expectation they cannot meet. And this is the dangerous beauty of mastery in the open. It is the quiet power of someone who is trained beyond distraction, beyond opinion, beyond judgment. Yeah, the world around you becomes pliable, bending subtly to the rhythm you set, unaware of the influence you wield. So here's the razor-sharp truth. Presence is a weapon. Action is strategy. Silence is camouflage. And when all three converge, you exist beyond their comprehension. They can watch, they can analyze, they can speculate endlessly. And you continue to move, shaping the game, defining the rules, controlling the narrative without ever speaking a word. Every observer is a participant. Every witness becomes a lesson. Every glance shapes destiny. Oh, wow. Do you feel it now? The culmination of every silence, every shadowed step, every patient calculation. They are still watching, still speculating, still imagining control they will never have. And yet, that is no longer a threat. It is confirmation. Confirmation that you exist, that your presence matters, that your life cannot be ignored. Yeah, the watchers, the critics, the hidden eyes, they are part of the story now, but no longer the authors. Nah, they don't need to understand you. They don't need to measure your every move. The dangerous fantasy was theirs. The reality, the inevitable reckoning is yours. You have moved through shadows, evolved in silence, mastered action without declaration. Every expectation they held has fractured, every assumption betrayed, and in this fracture, you are absolute, you are untouchable. You are the force they never predicted. Every glance cast your way is acknowledgement. Every whisper about you carries weight because you refuse to be predictable. Oh, wow. The irony is exquisite. They trained their eyes to control you, and instead they witnessed their own limitations. They fantasized about influence, while you quietly sculpted yourself into something unavoidable, something legendary. And now, all those who once underestimated, all those who observed without understanding, they see the reflection of their own miscalculation. Mastery is not loud. Mastery is subtle, unstoppable, inevitable. It is the calm in the storm, the shadow that guides, the presence that bends reality without force. They cannot touch it. They cannot stop it. They cannot comprehend it. They watch and they fear, not because you are loud, not because you announce your power, but because you simply are. Your influence is woven into every space they occupy, Every prediction they make fails. Every expectation they project collapses. Every fantasy they cling to shatters. And now comes the final truth, the razor-sharp clarity that cannot be ignored. You exist beyond their maps, beyond their reach, beyond their comprehension. You are the storm in waiting, the shadow in motion, the presence that shapes everything silently, invisibly, inevitably. Oh yeah, the game was never theirs. It never could have been. And as they stare, trying to reconcile what they see, one thought remains. And here's the thing. You survived it. You stayed. You watched. You absorbed every word, every pause, every pulse of tension. That alone proves something monumental. You're not just an audience. You're a force. A mind that refuses to settle, a spirit that refuses to be defined. And oh wow, that deserves respect. So shout out to you, the ones who tuned in, who engaged, who felt the danger and embraced it. Yeah, you are legendary. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share your fire. Show the world you see beyond the surface, that you move in silence and rise in power. Every comment, every share, it's a badge of honor, a testament that you are awake, aware, and unstoppable.